Okay, so this is the meeting of Carver Conservation Commission meeting, June 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in meeting room number 1. This meeting is being cablecast by Area 58 Community Access Media, Channel 15. It will be posted by Area 58 on YouTube as soon as possible. On our agenda today, we have 2 discussion items, but we'll move those to the end of the meeting. And we'll just move right to the first continued public hearing, which is Indian Street Lot Number 1, NOI DEP file SE 126-697. There's no reason for me to read the things. This is continued, so we can just go right to the...
Okay. I'm Rob Carlazon from Grady Consulting. This is a revised site plan for Lot 1 Indian Street. So since our last public hearing a couple weeks ago, we've made a few changes to the plan. I wrote them all in our revision letter, but I'll just go right through them. So number 1 being the biggest revision. After going back and forth, we were able to figure out a configuration to move the proposed house outside of the 100-foot setback to the cranberry bogs. So doing that, we're no longer asking for a local variance request from the commission. Number 2, basically with the new house location, we did have to shift the septic system, the proposed septic system, a little bit to the east, just to meet Board of Health setback requirements to the building. All of the components are still located beyond the 100-foot setback to the cranberry bogs / wetlands. Number 3, I know one of the requests last time was to make the proposed driveway a pervious material. So we proposed pervious pavement or approved equal. And then the last, number 4, the last change, obviously we had to adjust quite a bit of grading to kind of make this new house location work. So you can probably tell on the plan there's a lot of proposed grading just to make slopes reasonable. A lot of the grading is within the 65 and the 100 foot, or between the 65 and 100 foot setback. But there is no grading within 65 feet of a cranberry bog or wetland. So those are the changes since the last hearing. And I don't think we can do any better than that on this one.
Yeah, I mean, any comment from you, Carl, or?
No, I think good job getting it doing to fulfill those tasks. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but my only question, I guess, would be Emil, the temporary disturbance for the grading. It's outside the 65, but inside the 100.
Yeah.
Would we have to put any restrictions as far as what they put back there when the site's finalized?
In terms of like the material,
Yeah, what,
like,
you know,
The vegetation or
what
grass.
do we require usually in a
Sure.
situation like that for vegetation and
Sure. So I think outside of the 65, we've allowed, just,
Whatever.
Normal grass, lawn. I kind of assumed that's what you guys had proposed, and obviously we allow any kind of natural landscaping as well. If there's proposed construction or additional structures, retaining walls, things like that come in the future, obviously the homeowner will have to come back to us and get a permit for that in the future. But as it's proposed, I think, just as long as the site is stabilized at the end of the project when
Right.
we come for the COC, we wouldn't really have any requirements for the vegetation. If it was in the 65, then maybe we would, ask them to put, native plantings in there. But in this case, I think lawn
that's fine.
is
Okay.
consistent with what we've allowed in the past.
And you, Ann, you?
No, I mean, I think you did something magical. I don't know how you did that. And I have a question that has nothing to do with approving it, because I think you did a really good job, but is it still gonna be tough? There's gonna be a pretty steep hill there, right, for those people? It has nothing, it's fine, I just,
Yep.
in looking at the plans, it's hard for me to, it's,
Yep. So I kept the majority of the downhill grading, so the grading from the house down, from the
Yep.
septic down, and from the driveway down. It's a 3-to-1 slope,
okay,
which it's definitely a slope.
yeah,
But should be able to mow the grass
okay.
somewhat easily.
Okay,
It's-
well, that's not as bad as I
Well, even
thought,
if-
when you
even
look
if they
at
let
it, it's pretty steep.
grow naturally, it's not that big a deal or anything.
Sure,
You know,
yep.
it's not
Yeah.
good.
Yep, so.
No, but I think you did a great job, thank you.
The only thing we did in the other sites that are close to Cranberry Bog is we had them with a split rail fence in at the 65.
Yep.
I don't know what you guys think of that, but, I mean, is that reasonable? I mean, as far as you guys are concerned? I mean, that's what we had them do down on 58 there.
Right, I know.
And we,
I mean, as long as it doesn't, I don't know if it impedes the harvest of the bog.
it doesn't seem to on the other bogs that we do it. I mean,
It's true, I just don't know how
I
much
mean-
more room they have.
it'd make, aesthetically make it look nicer too, probably a little bit. I don't know. It's,
Yeah, it is consistent with what we've done in the past, so.
I mean,
So right now, the existing conditions of the site is like that part, the 65, is essentially it's a bog road. It's like very
Right.
flat. If you look at the lot line for the lot 3, which is the Cranberry Bog itself,
Right.
the lot is essentially
The-
just the bog, starting at the top of the bog
Right.
embankment. So everything between there is essentially a flattened bog road for the most part. It's very,
Right.
the grade is very flat down there.
uh-huh.
So it would stand to reason that if they're gonna be farming this bog, they're gonna be using that area. And I'm not sure, Rob, is there an easement for that? Or is that not something that's been really thought at this point? Has the A&R been done for this?
The A&R has been done,
Okay.
and I don't believe there is an easement
Okay.
currently for that, for harvesting.
Okay, yeah. I think that's gonna kind of make it kind of tough to continue to farm on the bogs. Like, depending on who ends up owning this property, they could say, you know, can't come on my land. But again, it's not really our concern. It's, you know,
So you're saying the fence probably isn't necessary?
no, I think the fence is reasonable,
Yeah.
but it's just all I was getting at is that, you know, the area between the fence and the bog is essentially a bog road, and
Right.
there is access for someone to get in that flat area. So, you know, the fence wouldn't really be in the way, in my mind.
And the reason we do it is to, so people know that is a wetlands, their houses there and kids doing stuff or whatever they're doing there, so. I mean, that's what I would suggest we do, the only thing.
And we had them put signs on the fence
Yeah, and put signs on the fence.
in South Carver, right?
Right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not down there,
yeah, we did.
I believe so, yeah.
down there on 58, just like we did on 58.
So it's either gonna be it's either gonna be poles or a fence.
Right.
Either way, we,
It's a split rail, it's not that expensive, I don't think, you know, we don't think it'll cost.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
Okay,
I mean, you have to have signs anyways.
Right.
Those are
Exactly.
posts.
but we thought the fence aesthetically looks a little better.
looks better
and-
than just
Yeah,
poles every
poles.
50 feet.
Every
I think
50
so.
feet, yeah.
In this case, I think that fence makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any issue either. I mean, you guys pulled it out of the 100 feet. I mean, it's really out of our jurisdiction at this point, so
Yep.
I don't see, yeah, I'm amazed you were able to do it, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, and I would just add that, you know, obviously it's been designed in a way that is in respect to our regulations, and I appreciate that. But if things, you know, come down the line and you find that the house needs to be shifted one way or the other, and it does come into our like jurisdiction, it's something that you just have to let us know, and that, you know, come back for an amended order of conditions if that is the case. But because I know it is a lot of grading and it is very steep back there, so, you know, in the process, just keep us updated if there are any changes. And the other thing I just had a question about, now it looks like there's a swale that's like kind of behind the house in the up in the corner. And I was just wondering, what that is for. Is that for directing water kind of around the back of the foundation?
Correct, yeah, it's not a deep swale, it's just a little bit so that water runs away from the foundation.
Got it.
There's a little bit, there's kind of like I don't know, describe it, a knob in the back.
Yep,
right, one where it
yeah,
kinda
I've
goes
walked up there.
Yep. So just cutting that a little bit back, just so if water runs down there, it doesn't run directly into the foundation, so.
Got
That
it.
makes sense.
It looks like the swale's like 2 feet deep, maybe
It's
max.
not, maybe not even, so just a very shallow.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting backyard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the whole thing is going to be interesting to see. I do have one question. Right now, the existing site has a bunch of like agricultural detritus, from a bunch of junk in the middle, like in the middle.
Yep.
Is that going to be removed, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to have to be for the
For
build.
this, yes,
Yeah, okay.
definitely.
So
Yep.
I just figured.
Yep.
All right, anybody else have anything to say?
Bob Gosling is next to it. The old bog material, is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the stuff
Yeah, it
that
looks
they-
like-
after they
Yeah,
dump it.
that's typical. Once they get in there with the machines, like Bob Gosling did the ones on 58, that had a lot of bog material there. That was mixed in with the soil.
Yeah, that's fine. It just
It
does, it does
winds
break
up
down.
blending in,
So,
composting. and-
sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Would you mind just signing in, because we have a remote note taker today, so
Yeah.
she'll want to know what your name is for the record. Thank you.
Sorry.
Did you want to say anything, Judy, or any comments? It's time to say something, you're going to say it.
Thank you. I'll sign in. Judy Richards, I'm a resident. I do not live in this area, but I've driven by it several times. I feel bad for the person that's thinking about purchasing this. The owners of the property took a lot of dirt out and left a lot of garbage dirt there. And the future homeowners having that slope in their backyard, a little concerned for safety. And in regards to the bog that's in front, it's nice to see the board requesting split rail fence and signage, but the next owners and owners down the road are not going to know what the boards went through to approve a home to be put in an area that down the road might be unsafe. That is my concern. It's sandy, the slope, and I understand they want to put retaining walls, but as a resident and a homeowner, sinkholes where they bury this garbage, gravel mixed in with the dirt, 15 years down the road, there'll be a nice sinkhole in somebody's backyard back to when they buried stumps. I understand that people buy and sell land, but I truly feel that in cases like this, that the proposed purchaser of the property should do a little bit more background history, one in the town and two in the area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have our sign-in sheet back? Judy?
All right, so, have you guys, just a question, are we the first board you've been to? Have you been to planning already and all that stuff?
We did the A&R plan, and that went to planning board.
Yeah, you did go to A&R.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I did say that earlier, sorry about that. All right, so we good? Any other comments from anybody?
No, I'm good.
Do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
So all those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So it's 3-0 to close. All right. So it looks as though this is all out of our jurisdiction, so, I mean, it's, the only stipulations we have for the project is the split rail fence and that the driveway stays
Pervious.
in, pervious. So are there any other things?
And
that
we're
we
gonna
should-
we'll do the 65-foot, the signage on the rail fence.
You know, and do the 65-foot signage on the rail fence,
Yeah.
so. Those are the only,
Yep, so the fence would be at the 65-foot
At the
line,
65.
all
At
the
the
way
65,
around.
right.
um,
to the end of the
From property
property.
line to property line.
Right, right.
Got it.
Other than that, is there anything else we want to add to that?
No, just the regular boilerplate.
Right. Just one, well, the questions are all gone, so sorry.
No,
All right.
you could still ask questions.
Where's the power going? Is that just going in the driveway? I didn't even see that.
Is it underground service?
Yeah. I'm just curious. Has nothing to do with what we're gonna approve, but I mean,
I'm fairly certain we're gonna run an underground service, from the street. There's, let's see. I know there is overhead electric on the street.
I was gonna say, if you're going above ground with the service wire, you're gonna have a couple poles in the end.
yeah. I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's not that
Yeah.
significant. I think that's fine. Just curious, yeah. Doesn't look like it was put on there, but that's not our purvey anyway. So.
Whatever's the least costly.
Yeah,
Probably the way they'll
All
go.
right, okay.
I think we could, yeah, I think we could just make it with one pole. So the existing pole is right, kind of directly across the driveway entrance and to the left a little bit. Just looking at the overall distance, it might be one pole.
They're like 100 feet apart, right?
Yeah.
Roughly. So.
Yeah.
All right. All right, all right, we're good. I mean, do I hear a motion to approve these plans with the stipulations that we put down with the fence, the driveway, and the signs?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No. So 3-0, it's approved. So that, we're done. All right. Did I skip and miss anything?
I don't think so.
Savory's not here, the chairman, so I'm sort of filling in, so that's what we're...
Yeah, if you don't mind, could you guys just sign the plan so that we have a signature on the plans?
Okay. I'll wait for you, Emil, to get that up on the screen there. We good?
Would you guys like the paper copies? I know we looked at it last week.
These are, then there were no
It
amendments to
doesn't
this
change
plan?
at all, right?
No,
Okay.
I don't need it.
All right, so this is Indian Street Lot Number 2, NOI DEP file SEI 126698. Again, I don't have to read this because it was read in the last minutes, or the meeting. So it looks like it really hasn't changed at all, right?
Yep. So since the last meeting, we looked at trying to move the house further away from the bog. When we did that, we were getting into more retaining walls, a lot more grading. And oh, wait a second.
They're waiting to get that fan off, so it's a lot. Maybe not.
Surprised it wasn't running this whole time.
I know.
No, just speak clearly to the microphone will be good.
So I just got to back up. So since the last meeting, the client and I have, we've looked at trying to move this house further from the cranberry bog, reconfiguring any way we could. We were getting into more retaining walls, bigger retaining walls, more grading. We ran into elevation challenges from the top of foundation down to the basement slab. We were coming up with like 16 feet of difference, which is not good building practice, or normal, for that matter. So we looked at this, 10 different ways. This was the most feasible way and probably the only way that we were seeing we could do this construction on this lot. So as you can tell, we haven't changed. This is the same plan as the last hearing. And this is kind of, I think this is the best we can do on this one.
Would it help if there was like, for any of the runoff from the roof itself, that was the chairman's concern?
Would you mind just coming up? You can pull up your chair and speaking into the microphone, just because the minute taker won't be able to hear you.
I was thinking, the chairman was concerned about the water shedding off the roof, and I was wondering if having like a small catch basin outside the 100-foot buffer, the gutter system would lead to a catch basin outside the 100-foot buffer, so even though the roof of the house itself is inside that 100-foot buffer, any water coming off it would not shed within the 100-foot buffer. Would that help?
I mean, obviously, anything you can do to manage the water on the slope in terms of erosion is going to be a positive thing.
I was thinking that might be a solution to help because that seemed to be the chairman's issue.
Well, that was one of the issues, but I think one of the major issues is that this comes in conflict with two parts of our bylaw. Not only is it in the wetlands part, but it comes as a part, there's another section in the statement of jurisdiction that the town has voted that they do not want residential structures within 100 feet of a bog. I mean, that's just has nothing to do with the wetlands, right? So I think that that's one of the major rules that we're trying to deal with here, and I think we've gotten a lot of kickback from the other projects, even down to 58, that even though two of those houses are outside the 100 feet, people in the town do not like that. So I think that's an issue for us, So and we have to kind of deal with that as a board. So I don't know, what do you guys think?
No, you're 100% correct.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of complaints about the houses on South Main.
Right, even though
I
one of
continue
them's not,
to.
but that.
One of them, I mean,
yeah,
two
but that
of
was a
them were not
mistake.
even in our
Right,
jurisdiction. I mean,
right.
so.
So I think we're going to have a really hard time approving this. I mean, I don't want to string you on here, so, and I don't know what else we can say, really.
No,
Yeah,
it's, I agree with you 100%. It's in conflict with two different bylaws,
Yeah,
state and local, so
right.
it would be tough. And I appreciate what you're saying, I really do, but
No, I was just trying to think of some
Right.
kind of solution that might help, but yeah. So I don't know. I guess.
I mean,
Short of denying it, either withdrawing it or denying it, I guess.
well, you can withdraw it if you want.
you can withdraw it, you
don't want to? You'd rather us just go through the
Just-
motions here?
want to,
All right, so we could
Overrule.
just propose to close the hearing, right, at this point, unless there's discussion?
is there anybody else?
Any
want to say
other
anything?
discussion? All right.
So I make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. So, all those in favor of this, approving this project, NOI, SC 126,
I'll make a motion to deny the permit.
Okay, make sure Dyersburg,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
I would just really quick say that for this project, it's in conflict with the bylaw.
Yeah.
So in the local bylaw, it would make sense to deny it under the bylaw specifically
Okay.
in this case.
So I'll make the motion to deny this under the Carver Town bylaw, no structures within 100 feet of a cranberry bog.
And the bylaw just says, we can cite it if you want, it's general provisions 281-1. It would be Part C, Article 4.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And it's also in violation of Article 1, Part C also, so, all right. So,
We may have a motion, second.
Second.
so all those in what? In favor of the project?
In favor of denial.
Denial, well, that's kind
Deny.
Yeah.
of backwards. Okay, in favor of denial?
Aye.
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 All those opposed. So project is denied 3-0. Okay? All
Thank you
right?
for your work,
Thank
guys.
you.
I appreciate
know
you
it
guys
wasn't
working
easy-
with us
it
on the
wasn't
one.
easy work,
I
so
really
I
do.
appreciate
You know,
it.
we're constrained here. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Neil, for helping me stumble through this.
You're doing a great job, Dave.
All right.
I can see a reorganization coming next meeting.
It's our next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, have a
We
good night.
appreciate the work you did.
Yeah, we do.
Really, really. Just curious. Those slopes on that first one, they didn't look that bad when I looked at the contour lines. They're like, yeah, would you say it's a 1 in 3 slope? I mean,
3 to 1.
3 to 1. So what's that in degrees? Like, like 10?
30 degrees.
30? Well, that's pretty steep slope.
Yeah.
So it's about like that. Then, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, it's,
Yeah,
it's not
not
just
too-
slope, but
yeah.
it's,
Not as much as.
You will
as
be able
now.
to mow it, but you may.
You're not going to be comfortable, you're not going to be comfortable mowing
Right,
it.
right, okay. No, just, sorry to keep you, no, just curious.
all right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Have
again,
a good
guys.
night.
Okay, so we can move on to our items of discussion here. We only have 2 of them. We could have more if you want, if there's other things that we need to talk about. The first discussion is 44 Lakeview Street property maintenance. I know, Emil, you're over there looking at it. I drive by it almost every day. I see it.
Hasn't changed much.
No.
Well, it's changed as of today
Did it?
because I weed whacked.
Oh, you did?
the entire
You went over there with the weed
front
whacker. Oh,
yard,
yeah.
and
Is that
the
in your job
driveway.
description?
It is technically because I'm in charge of like land management and
Ah.
maintenance of these properties. And I enjoy that kind of thing. It's nice to get out of the office sometimes. So it's
Get your
that's-
frustrations out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I blew off some steam. I actually just got back from there. But in any case, after the last meeting, we had discussed that the property needs ongoing maintenance, not just this spring. It's going to be continual, and we need to have a way of managing it. I did have a brief discussion with John Woods. He's our associate director of the operations and maintenance department, and he oversees a lot of the like mowing town property. And his initial take was that they wouldn't want to take over managing it long term because they O&M have a lot of work when it comes to the mowing, and they're taking care of graveyards, they're taking care of residential or recreation properties, they're taking care of the town hall and the other town buildings, and it's kind of been the practice of the town that the Conservation Commission manages its properties. So initial take from them was that they wouldn't really want to take it on at this time. And I also discussed, the brush hog that we purchased, and John said that he'd be willing to help us out, moving the brush hog to the property. So that's something that we have access to. Again, it's like kind of like I'm the sole person in the conservation department in terms of like full-time staff members. So I have limited time to do this kind of work. So I think looking forward long term, it would be best to go back to kind of how we have been managing it, which is a professional landscape company. As much as I do have a lot of fun out there with the weed whacker, and I was able to blow off some steam out there, it's something that, at least periodically we should have, I think, seasonal professional landscaping done at this property. It is kind of like our most visible property and our most accessible property, being right next to the COA and the town beach. So I think I have reached out to one person who runs landscaping company locally, and that person actually used to be the owner of Country Mile Landscaping, but then sold that company So that person is interested in doing the work. I have to, reach out to them to get a quote for
Can we
seasonal
use the old
maintenance.
contract, because it was the same company name, or is that not?
It's gonna be a different, under a different company, but it's not something that necessarily has to be bid out, because in order for it to require a bid it has to be over $10,000, which this won't be, based on the past,
I see.
management of the property. So I think it's something that I'll have to do, some research on different possibilities, but I don't necessarily have to get put it out for a RFP or a bid. So
Would it be prudent to get a couple different people? bidding
yes,
on
I
it?
think so. I think it'll be for me to take a look and have a few companies or individual landscapers take a look at the site and get some quotes on it. But in the meantime, I reached out to John Woods and asked him if I can use the brush hog to do at least an initial cut of the the meadow and the larger kind of bushes that are popping up there. Those are invasive bushes, so I think just chopping them down would be our at least an initial step. And for people out there who are driving along Lakeview Street, I have cut down the entire front yard. It looks pretty well manicured for the hour that I spent out there. I literally only spent an hour today, from 5:30 to 6:30 out there. So I did that in between normal working hours and this meeting, which was
Well, thank you for doing that.
it was
Yeah, that
nice.
was very
Nice way to
nice.
spend
I think
my.
it's above and beyond the call.
I have a great local contractor who's a single person company.
Yeah, send
and
me
I've had
their
him for years.
information because I'm going to be looking
We're
at a
not
couple
looking for
different.
manicured
well,
lawns. We
but-
just
No,
want
this
somebody
guy
to
is
beat it
great,
down.
though. He's like not
Yeah.
expensive. He's
I-
highly
I-
efficient.
I think what Emil wanted to do is get it to a point where somebody's not gonna put that initial
Charge
cost,
us,
a
a huge-
weed
No, he
whacking
won't do
it for
that.
days
Yeah,
to-
and I
to
think
clean up.
where it's at as of right now, it's a lot better because I've cleared everything in the front yard along the the frontage in front of the house, except for the full right side of the property. That's kind of still a meadow. I'm sure you guys will see it when you drive by, and you'll see the spots that I kind of missed. But it was it was nice to actually go into the garage and see what equipment we have available to us. We do have PPE equipment.
Oh,
we
what's
do
that?
we do have personal protective
Oh, we do?
equipment.
Yeah,
We have
goggles.
face
Cool.
masks,
Oh,
eye gear,
PPE, I didn't know what you said.
headphones, reflective vests and stuff like that, as well as the weed whacker. I do think we have a chainsaw, although I think the Boy Scouts may have borrowed that for clearing on the Cole property, which is another property that they help us out with. So we do have equipment when things do come up, as well as the brush hog. So
Is the brush hog there? Did you see it? Is it
so the
operational?
brush hog is kept with the DPW, and what John said to me is that I can reach out to them. They'll bring it, whether it's on a trailer or one of their trucks. They'll drop it off for me, and I can use it that way. So I think, between the brush hog and the weed whacker, I'll be able to get it to a reasonable, level within the next couple of weeks. And then moving forward, hopefully we'll have a contractor at that point who will do, probably will be like, twice seasonally to actually come to the property.
Keep it under control, basically.
Yeah, keep it in working order. And I think in the meantime, I just want to kind of look at the layout of the property and see, where we want to have paths and where we want to have, more open meadow. Savory was saying, maybe we keep the front nice and well manicured, but then we keep the back of the property kind of as more of a meadow, which it actually looks beautiful in my mind right now.
Yeah, I've been back there.
It is probably full of ticks and
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you can just.
Just need a
mow-
pathway
you can-
through
you
it,
can
right.
mow
So,
a
yeah.
narrow path.
yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. We're kind of like a windy path
Yeah.
back
Sure.
to the rear of the property, and cut down all of those invasive shrubs that are popping up. So that's kind of my thought process right now. I think the brush hog will be able to do a lot more in the short term, and then we'll get some quotes, and obviously I'll come back to you guys and get those approved when we're ready for that.
Unless you want to do it all by yourself too, I can go out there and help. It's just
No,
down the
we should
street
just
for me.
get someone who,
Yeah.
they can do it
Yeah.
in 10 minutes with
Yeah.
equipment.
I mean, so.
Fast.
No, I mean, I was really surprised how much I was able to get done. I kept telling myself, like, you have a meeting, stop. And I kept looking at my phone. I was like, oh, only 5 minutes went by. Like, I can do another 5 minutes. And I got everything around the
Oh,
foundation
nice.
of the house, everything in the front of the house, and a little bit around the garage.
Well, thank you for
And
doing that.
The whole
Yeah.
driveway is clear, so people can actually pull into the driveway if they want to bring the brush hog into the property that way. So again, we do have some like plans for this property in the future that we already have laid out, and I know the town kind of wants to make this whole campus with the COA and the beach property and the conservation property to be, accessible and welcoming to the public. So I think, those are things that we want to start to make progress towards.
And I know once the pickleball thing gets going, there's gonna be a lot more people over there, a lot more.
Yep.
We might get a lot more feedback.
Yeah,
It's not
so
maintained
we
well, so.
we did have some initial meetings discussing the layout of all three properties. And that was, Tom Bott, the town planner, was involved with that, as well as the town administrator, and Savory came to those meetings, the COA people, the recreation department, and they had done an initial engineering plan which showed, kind of the things that we had on our crayon drawing from Dan Badger, that, the split rail fence, as well as the pavilion and a small, kind of lookout platform at the back of the property. So those are kind of things that we have funding for to build. We just, unfortunately, the way that the town meeting article that I read, that how it was voted, it reads that the funding was contingent upon an agreement with the Boy Scouts, which was just really strange that they kind of stipulated that. So I'm not sure. It seems like the way that the funding,
Are you talking about the CPC funding?
the CPC funding, yeah. And I can bring that and show you guys the town meeting article, but the way it was written, it sounded like, the money is only for the materials.
It is.
And
only for
the,
I know.
and-
The rest of it's in
I
kind.
know it's
and-
only for the materials.
right, but then it says the funding is approved contingent upon an agreement with the Boy Scouts, which I'm not sure that we ever got.
Right.
So I think that may be the next step, is to reach out to Dan Badger and say hey, is this still something that it's possible?
And if it's not, we have to go back to the town to do that, or CPC?
We have to,
Potentially.
I wonder.
yeah, we'd have to go through CPC, and then anything through the CPC has got to go through town
And
meeting.
then through the town, right? So we'd have to do it, it'd be a year down the road at least,
Yeah.
so. All right, well,
So hopefully we can get that sorted out. The Boy Scouts still use that,
The garage thing?
The garage, they have stuff stored in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nightmare in there right now. It's full of spiders. They're quite large spiders, and
was it like
they have
Indiana
lots
Jones or
of
something?
babies in there. These spiders, they look like they're black widows. I'm no spider expert, but they look dangerous. So it's no fun to be in there right now, and it's kind of a mess. So I'm hoping that maybe Dan will help me out with tidying it up a little bit.
What do they got in there?
Just uniforms and hats, and they kind of share some of the trail clearing equipment. So there's PPE and.
Oh, that's in that garage?
Yeah, it's in the garage at the
Yeah.
property.
Oh, it's not somewhere around here? Oh, I see. So that's where the weed whacker is and everything too? That's over there too?
Currently, yeah. We may have to, the fate of the house is still in question, and the fate of the garage in that same way. So I think, whether or not we keep that storage situation is kind of still up in the air. But
Got it.
again, that's another conversation.
Okay. Thank you for
But
doing that.
Yeah, you're
Really appreciate
welcome.
that.
I think we at least have options moving forward, and we'll be able to keep it more consistently maintained, because it's unfortunately that's one of the things that I told the town finance committee when I was asking for more hours, was that my time is really limited, and the two things that I don't have really enough time for are, number one, enforcement of of our, you know, our bylaws and our Wetlands Protection Act. There's stuff that's going on out there that's not, you know, it's flying under the radar, as well as land management. So we have a lot of properties in the town, like that Wade Street property. I actually went out there this week for the first time to actually see that property. Really cool property, beautiful trail, but it's overgrown.
Yeah.
And that's a property that, you know, it'd be nice to have a walking trail back there at some point. It's a large property. It kind of looks back onto the, you know, Swan Hole
All right.
area. So that's, you know, these are things to think about in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, I'm starting in July, just 5 more hours a week. So hopefully that will help with some of these things actually. But yeah, I haven't been able to dedicate as much time. So I apologize to the people of the town in terms of the aesthetics of the 44 Lakeview, but it really hasn't been
Well,
my
it really
number one
shouldn't fall on
priority.
you.
Well, no, it shouldn't fall on you personally, no.
So they're bringing you up to 35 hours?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me?
They're bringing
Yeah.
them up to 35
Oh, you were
hours
30,
in
right.
July.
30 hours, yeah,
It'd be
and
good if
now
it
I'm
was
at,
40.
gonna be at
And then you
35.
also have Emil told me today that he has what do they call this, assistant that might come help you.
Yeah, I found out from the assessor that there is a senior work-off person. The senior work-off program is through the assessor's department. Seniors, as in like, you know, elderly people in the community are able to work part-time for the town. It's like 52 hours a year, so it's, you know, less than 2 hours a week to, you know, come in and do some work. So there's an individual in the town who used to be a conservation agent that's applied for this program. And I accepted them to kind of help me out with some, you know, office things.
I mean, so they could work more than 2 hours a week, they could work several, then not work the next week.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
As long as
That's
it
great.
doesn't
Yep.
meet 52
As long as
hours.
it'll be on 52 hours.
Yes.
right? Well, that's great.
Yeah, so
And
I
there are
think that would
sometimes a year
be,
you don't need them, other times you do, so.
that would be helpful for
Be
me.
very helpful. Well, good, I'm glad that.
Can you use a weed whacker?
It's a she,
It's a
and
she, I don't know.
that I have not determined yet.
Well,
But
set her up
yeah,
with
just
some,
found out this week that
hard hat and
that may be
goggles
an
also.
option. Yeah.
Oh, very good. All right, and then I want to hear on the discussion of associate members, and I don't know what everybody, I don't know, I mean, Savory's not here, but do you think we should wait till everybody's here to talk about that?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'll just briefly say that this would have to be a town meeting article in order to change the composition of the board. So it is something that we should, you know, consider for a town meeting article this year. And the assistant town administrator has requested that, you know, we get those articles completely, you know, like finished before December so that they can be submitted. Like we can't do placeholders anymore like we did in the past. Like the commission has said, like, oh, we have 5 articles and we want to have 5 placeholders for the April meeting.
Oh, I
but
see.
now they're saying, you know, we don't want to do placeholders. This is through the select board. They're saying we want to have finalized articles by
By what date?
I'll get it to you, but I think it's like the last day, 30th of December.
Okay.
So it's like they have to be submitted by the end of the year,
That's
the
not-
calendar year.
So
So
I think-
we have some
I think
time to
that's
consider it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
especially things like the, you know, bylaw changes. Like these, sometimes they take like a little bit of time to like work out the exact wording. So we want to get on top of this earlier this year, just so that we don't, you know, if we do have things that we want to make changes, including this associate member thing,
Right.
I think we should get on it sooner rather than later. So,
So we were thinking 2, right?
yes.
That was the idea to have 2, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then,
The
you
way it
know,
wor- Now, they could they can't vote. How's
they
it work
wouldn't be
now?
voting members unless there was not a quorum. So if for some reason, you know, now we're going to have a new member starting in July, so there's going to be 5 of you. If for some reason 3 of you were gone, then one of the associate members could step up and vote.
Or could they step up anytime anybody's gone? Or is it just when you don't have a quorum?
I think it's only when in need of.
It's only when in
You
need of a quorum, yeah.
And do they have to be appointed by the select board
Yep,
also?
they would be appointed by the select board, and, you know, the commission could recommend people, but I think it's really helpful. I will say again, I started as an associate member, and I learned, you know, about conservation regulations through the other members of my board. So people, you know, kind of took me under their wing and taught me the regulations, and it took me quite a while before I would have been comfortable to vote on things like this, but just sitting in the meetings and having the opportunity, you know, like these associate members, they'll have the same opportunity to discuss, ask questions, and give their opinions. So that was really helpful for me, and I think, you know, just sitting here with us helps to make that next step to be able to vote. So I think it's a really positive thing, and again, like, we have a 5-member board, so like, it's already pretty easy to keep 3-member quorum, but as you see right now, like, there's only 3 of you guys here right now. If one of you had a conflict, then we wouldn't be able to hold this meeting. I think there's no downsides to having 2 associate members.
I think it's great.
No, I agree.
Well, just because of the learning curve too, there's a lot of
Yeah, there's a
information.
lot to know.
See it here, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the newest person, and I maybe have 2 years now, but it probably took me a year to really feel like I understood everything. So it would have been great
Yep.
if I could have done that.
I mean, still, every day, learning new things.
I'm still learning things.
Yeah.
All right, anything
It
else?
doesn't seem like there's ever a shortage of people that want to get on this commission.
Well, not lately.
Yeah.
I mean, really. lately.
So one last thing is the minutes of the
Oh, yeah,
last
we gotta
meeting.
approve the minutes, right.
I read
Did
that.
you get a chance to read them?
Yeah, I already read it.
I did too. So, any additions or changes?
I saw nothing with it.
All right,
So I'll
so,
make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
A second?
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So, approve the minutes. All right, anything else? Motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's closed. Thank you, Area 58.
We have to sign that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.